Hey everybody, welcome back to the Vertigo Table. I am Ryan Doyle, and I've been on a bit of a magic item creation kick lately. I had a stroke of inspiration and came up with something I actually wish I handed out in pretty much every campaign, even every one shot that I've ever run. Now, in 5e, magic items are a little notorious for creating problems for the dungeon master, but I think this one could potentially solve a couple common issues DMs experience, and while I think players are still going to enjoy getting their hands on these in honor of GM's Day, this one is for the game masters out there. I cooked up a way to organically, in game, deliver a ton of flavor and lore in a way that will engage the players because it will feel like a reward, not like a intro sequence that they rather skip so they can get to the action. Then, because every dungeon master and table is different, I created an alternative version that might be more appealing to some people and potentially has a really cool mechanic. Then, because I was excited and honestly because I found a bunch of really fun art I wanted to use, I created another 20 versions that are a bit more in line with the design expectations of D&D 5e so anyone can hand them out. So yeah, I'm a little psyched about it, and without further ado, I present to you the Omniscient Chronicles of Awesomeness. This book is a wondrous item, very rare if you care about that sort of thing, but I think you could hand it out at level 1 because this is a sentient magical tome that knows just about everything. You want to tell the players the convoluted belief system and the ultimate goals of this particular sect of the evil cult, but they refuse to talk to anyone of its members, right, before killing them. The Omniscient Chronicles of Awesomeness has got your back. You want to remind them that this elf that they just bumped into is the very person they've been seeking for like 6 sessions now, only the players don't seem to remember. You want to convey the significance of this mysterious symbol or describe the origins of this hideous monster, all while making the players feel like they've earned this information and are eager to receive it. The Omniscient Chronicles of Awesomeness. Now, you can absolutely say that they can consult this magical book X number of times per day, or you can say it's sentient and it speaks up whenever it feels like it. Sentient magic items are great because they're basically NPCs that are always just hanging out with the party, and you can give them a ton of personality. In my imagination, the Omniscient Chronicles of Awesomeness is just absolutely pumped to be sharing knowledge and helping the characters, but it could just as easily be a sort of like gonzo version of an instructional film, right, from a bygone era, or an annoyingly erudite know-it-all who can't believe how little the player characters really know. And it's a book, so you can have it talking out loud or telepathically to one or all of the characters, but it also makes sense to have this thing communicating via text. Maybe you are not as comfortable doing a zany voice, or maybe you are better at writing something out in prep rather than improvising in the heat of the moment. Well, here's a built-in mechanism to read out or deliver blocks of text without it feeling forced or taking people out of the game. Now, while I bet some of you absolutely love this idea, another chunk are afraid their players would use this thing to quiz them about stuff they don't have the answers to. Well, have no fear, because I worked up another version of this concept, the Inquirer's Oracle. It's the same basic concept of getting interesting information to your players and getting your players excited to receive it, but with a built-in delay to allow you to build in some world building between game sessions around the things that the players have already expressed interest in. Instead of getting an instant answer, the characters have to write their queries out inside the Inquirer's Oracle's pages, then the answers are revealed, or not, when the extraplanar beings or ethereal inhabitants of the astral sea or some spell-casting ancestors are good and ready to deliver them. You could take this one step further and have a physical book, or I guess a shared doc if you're playing online, where the players are writing out their questions about the world of your game and you are providing the answers. Imagine what it would be like to have something like that getting bigger and bigger as you run your campaign. You could even pass it around between sessions, turn it into a scrapbook with quotes from the campaign, even illustrations if you're so inclined, and collectively create an artifact commemorating the story you are sharing. I really like the sound of that. but maybe you don't, or you do, but you don't think it's practical, or that you'd get the players to buy into it. I get it. That's why I made D20 magical tomes that behave way more like standard D&D magic items. And even if you don't need or want a way to insert more lore drops or find the idea of campaign Q&A scrapbooking appealing, I think you and your players will enjoy the magic items in here, and I think they might solve some problems a lot of tables are having. Look, it is a rookie mistake, but I think it's one a lot of us learned the hard way. Don't lock important information behind a roll, right? The PCs need to pass a perception check to find the entrance to the dungeon, or ask just the right question of just the right NPC to find that clue that advances the plot. But there's a more advanced version of this problem that I found myself stumbling into lately, where non-essential, flavorful information doesn't get to the players because of bad rolls. See, I've been trying to use more checks lately to reward players for investing proficiency in history and arcana, religion, just intelligence in general, to get use out of these neglected skills and make the player characters feel more unique and special for having distinct areas of knowledge. But when that player rolls a 7, maybe I'll still give them some information, but it feels like I have to hold back on some of those details, which would enrich the world they're exploring, because otherwise the roll and that whole skill are just kind of pointless, right? There's also the sticky question of metagaming versus being true to character and story, right? You can try to police that line between what the player knows and what the character knows, or you can close the gap, erase the border between them by sharing a lot more information and letting both the players and the characters make informed decisions that make a difference in the world. So these 20 magic items are built to encourage PCs to go looking for information and to make it more likely that they will succeed when they do so. A lot of them are built to bolster the PC's ability to learn more stuff or fill the gaps in their knowledge, but the rest are doing some other fun, interesting things as well. Many are also sentient with suggested personalities that are chock full of flavor in tiny packages, which again could come across in speech or writing. And while they mostly have limits on how often they can be used per day, there's nothing saying a DM can't just have them pipe up at key moments and tell the character something they wouldn't know otherwise. I am super happy with the way these turned out, and I hope you get a lot of value out of them too. I'm giving them to every one of my patrons at every level, and I'm also sharing this on DriveThru RPG. I've got it laid out in high contrast, easy to share and see on mobile, illustrated versions, then a more minimalist version as well, which is especially useful if you want to print this thing out. I'm putting the entire product in the preview on DriveThru, where you can access and download it all for free. You can also just go back and screen capture the pages I shared in this video already, and you've got the whole thing. But if you can support me and this channel, that is always deeply appreciated. If you want more magic items, check this out. And if you want advice on another approach to getting your players to care about the lore of your world, I recommend this video. Thank you so much for watching. Be kind, have fun, and I'll see you next time.